A very good morning to one and all present here. And here's extending a very warm welcome. So, on behalf of the Entrepreneurship Development Cell, we graciously invite you to this remarkable speaker session and we inspire to strive and give you the best of the experience. Now, we. Hello. I think we're just waiting for Dr. Devendra Save to be back on stage and we'll just begin shortly in 2 minutes. Right. So we at the Entrepreneurship Development Cell encourage the youth and to take initiatives to knowledgeably develop their insights and thereby making enriching contributions. Thus, proudly present to you the 360-degree counseling workshop of 2021, wherein we invite Dr. Devendra Save and Miss Sejal with us here today, and we also have our principal Reverend Father Dr. Dominic Savio with us here today. So I would now invite now like to invite Father to say a few.
So thank you very much. Very good morning to all of you. On behalf of St. Xavier's College, Autonomous Kolkata, I wish a warm welcome to Dr. Devendra Sev and Ms. Sajal Desai, our speakers for the day. It is a great pleasure to be here today to discuss the positive steps that can be taken to promote mental health and well-being among students of our country. Discussions like these are important in building understanding of the fact that mental health issues affect people from all walks of life, men and women of all ethnicities and from all socio-economic backgrounds. Till now, people only thought about preventing from getting infected with some virus or remaining safe from carriers of disease like malaria and dengue. But now people have started learning about how important mental health is and how it affects the entire system of the body and surroundings. This session serves most important to all our students and all of us. At the time of pursuing your career, especially students, you will often face setbacks and situations which are stressful and detrimental to mental well-being. There exists an institutional gap between availability of counselors and the act of seeking help. Therefore, 360-degree essentially has been formulated for a holistic counseling from wellness to career. I'm really happy that such an issue in the present society is being addressed by the students of our institution. It's a very, very important topics, very important for all of us. And I wish all the best to team EDC. And I wish you all great time of learning and today and wish you all the best. May God bless you.
Thank you so much, Father, for those enriching words. It is because of your blessings that we continue and strive to do what we do at EDC. I would now go on to introduce the speakers and our distinguished panelists for the day. We have Dr. Devendra Save, who is the co-founder of UNI. He has been a psychiatrist for around 23 years, and this initiative that he has undertaken is towards the development of our future in our entire mental health ecosystem. The essentiality of how mental health is very important for each and every one of us in our day-to-day lives is something that is elucidated through this venture. We also have Miss Sejal Desai, who is a practicing psychotherapist, and she has worked in the last 17 years in the UK. She's currently based in Mumbai and working as a consultant psychotherapist, mental health counselor, and a certified dialectical behavior therapist. We invite both of our distinguished panelists with us here today on this event and making this event a success. We can't thank you enough for organizing this entire event to reach out to the masses and let them know the importance of how mental health is something that does influence our day to day lives. Thank you so much for having us here today. We welcome all the attendees and the overwhelming response that we have gotten. This goes to show that how successful this event could be, and taking into account all the possibilities and all the matters that will be discussed in this event, taken in good stride and also implemented further. We present to you the 360-degree counseling workshop. So we now take the session further ahead.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Himanshu. First of all, very, very good morning to Kolkata and hello to everyone. Uh, I just want to let you know that Dr. Devendra Save is kind of struggling with the network issue currently, so he will be back with us very soon. Meanwhile, I'm going to start the session, and I want to thanks all of you, especially Father Dominici and St. Xavier's College, who has really started this amazing initiative of 360-degree counseling workshop. And then when I heard this, when Dr. Devendra Save told me this, Angel, would you like to be the part of it? And I was like, yes, absolutely, because this is something I have been waiting for last many years, that in India, seminars and webinars like this would happen, which was hardly was there in last 10, 15 years back. And now, students like yourself who is really thinking about in every sense that how mental health can be so important, and especially the stage you are all are at this point of time, where you are going to build your future, the future of society, and the future of country. And one of the most important part is your mental health. And if that is not been talked about or not been explored about, then as a society we are lacking somewhere. So I'm really, really happy and absolutely honored to be the part of this session. It's an absolute humbling experience right now. So obviously I kind of prepared my bit because I thought that Dr. Devendra Sabe would take on, but I want to start along with the first question, the first topic of what kind of how impact of stress, especially on the college students, what it can be, what kind of impact, or the um, how would they go through on a day-to-day basis when they have their amazing amount of coursework, peer group work pressure, um, family issues, conflicts between you and your parents, uh, group influences. Obviously, I'm not going to take out the social media pressure, and so many things along. And how, especially in this era where you are surrounded with so many elements around you, how as a student at the age of from 17, 18, 19, 20-year old, how do you manage that? Because stress has its own perks, and it does has its own challenges, with comes with anxiety, depression, panic attacks, and some or the other way we do experience um, on a daily basis. Sometimes some people are a lot more tolerable to it, and some people are not.
Okay,
um,
can you hear me now?
okay. Dr. Save is here. So, do you want me to continue, or shall I wait for him to continue?
Sejal, please continue. Only thing is that I wouldn't be there on the video. That's
Okay,
been
okay, fine. So
that's been a small issue.
I just started just addressing just what an amazing concept about this 360-degree counseling workshop, and how stress can be so impactful, and it can be influence our day-to-day life, especially with the college student who has so much of pressure along with the studies, and also identifying and proving themselves in coming future. I was just talking about that, and just want to give a little bit of head up of what is stress and how it works out. How do you know you are feeling stress? So stress is basically is your mind and body's response or reaction to real or imagined threat, which any kind of event or a changes would happen in your life. The causes can be uh, your academics, your extracurriculum activities, your peer pressure, your parental pressure, which I've already spoken earlier. Obviously, you might struggle with the time management. Now, there are many ways you would coping with the stress, but there are main two. One is the unhealthy way of coping it, and another is the healthy way of coping it. Unhealthy way, many of us, all of us have experienced some or the other in our lifetime, that things like overeating, maybe drinking too much, smoking, withdrawing from our friends, our group, familial activities. We may also feel like sleeping too much, or using pills or drugs to relax, or filling up every minute of the day to avoid feeling problems. So this can be the unhealthy way of coping the stress, and this is not something we would do purposefully. This comes quite in a very unconscious way, until unless you kind of, it comes in front. What is happening with me? Why am I being why am I feeling to isolate myself from my peer group? Why do I don't like to attend any of my family functions, or people are calling me but I just want to shut myself? Those can be the symptoms you can start reflecting on, that there is something I need to address. Now, Dr. Savi, do you want to continue with this, or shall I go ahead with coping with the healthy way?
Sejal, you've already spoken a bit about stress, what it is, and unfortunately, no, for the audience today, unfortunately, my video is not there, but my photo is there, which is looking better than me. So, so I think you'll have to bear with this. Nah, thank you so much for inviting me here, and nah, thank you so much. So, Sejal has already spoken. I have joined just now. I was just wondering how we are going to go about with this, in the sense this particular panel discussion. So, is Nishta going to moderate it? She's going to ask us questions. How is it going to go about? Nishta, can you make the
Uh,
things a
so,
little more
so you
clearer?
can just sure, sir. So you can just address this, the healthy way of coping up with stress, and then we can start with the questions.
Okay, fine. So, as Sejal has said, stress is something where the body and mind is reacting to a change. Usually, we see it as a threat, but unfortunately, the threat can be even a good thing. In the sense, you get a promotion on your job, you get more additional responsibilities, you're stressed out. You start dating somebody, suddenly you find that yesterday you were chilling out with your friends, and today evening you have to be absolutely ready for your lady or your man, and that's also a stress. So everything which is negative is not the only thing which is stress, but also positive things can be stress. Second is that unfortunately for human being, we are the only animal in which real situations are a stressful situation and imaginary situations are also a stressful situation. In the sense, for an animal, if he is facing starvation, he'll be stressed out about it. Or if he falls sick, he'll be stressed out about it. But here, if I have a threat of losing my job or failing in my exam, the imagination of me would be equally stressful or more stressful as compared to I have already lost my job or have failed in my exam. So, unfortunately, we have to understand that we are such a thinking organism that for us, thoughts are more than reality, and thoughts can make us get stressed out a lot. And that's the reason why I'm sitting this right now, is for the reason that when we are going to talk about how to cope with stress, we'll have to talk about not just the ways and means of becoming healthier, but also the ways and means of actually taking care of your thought processes. I think over to Sejal for telling us about how we can cope with stress in a healthy manner, and then even I'll join.
All right. Thank you, sir. Nishna, can I please have the PPT? So till then we get the PPT. I just want to say a little bit about uh, there are many healthy ways to manage and cope with stress. So, but remember, they require change. You can either change the situation or you can change your reaction. Now, deciding which option to choose, I have come up with a kind of an four strategies or four steps which you can think about and which you can keep it in your mind. It's a four A's. So next slide, please. So the first one is avoid, second one is alter, third is adapt, and the four is accept. Next slide, please. Thank you. So now these are the strategies which you can keep in our mind. We all have mobiles, so you can just take a screenshot or you can write it down and just keep it there. So whenever it's you need, you can have it. So now avoid avoid unnecessary stress. Now, number one, learn how to say no. Most of the time, we find stress because we just automatically we say yes to things which we really not intend to say so. And it is very important that we understand our boundary lines, that it's okay to say no and take responsibility for ourselves, which will literally will reduce your stress on the spot. Avoid people who stress you out. You will find many people whom you may not like the company, and they do added some more pressure on you, especially when you have a group of people whom you think you are just joining them because somewhere you need to be there. But if you feel that you are not comfortable, you can give yourself a permission to be out of it. That doesn't mean that you don't attend the professor's sessions, and because they stress you out. Don't go that way. um, and the last one of many is avoid hot buttons topic. You know what what triggers you, right? And if you are aware about yourself that this is something makes me really angry or make me really really feel sad, avoid that. Don't try to that, okay, I want to talk about it, I want to start initiate things which will I will be ending up experiencing something which will make me feel more guilty or make me feel more stress about it. Can I have the next slide, please? Alter the situation. Express your feelings instead of bottling them up. This is something it's so important that majority of the stress comes from that, because it's like I would call this as a passive aggressive communication, or it's like keeping under the carpet, keeping things under the carpet, and we do not come across as assertiveness, but it's more coming as, I don't want to speak right now, because then even if I speak, then I might confront the person and then my relationship would go haywire. Those are all the overthinking which comes around. Instead of that, choosing from passive aggressiveness communication, start building your assertiveness communication, where you can speak what you feel in a respectful manner. Be willing to compromise. Sometimes we might to compromise, understanding what is the situation is, which is more beneficial for both the parties. And that's where somewhere we can literally check on, is it really my ego, or actually it's beneficial right now not to engage into this activity or the situation. Manage your time better. It is very important to reduce that stress. Most of the time what happens, there is a assignment is coming up, I know I have to do this, but there is a part of me that okay, I'm gonna leave it for another 5 days, and the 6 days is actually your exam or the submission date. Now those 5 days, because somewhere there is a part of you couldn't identify real priorities about the time, that I could have given 2 hours of this, 1 hour of this much of time I could have taken on break, and that would have led you to more stress. So these are the actually precautions which you can take, which will immediately help you to relieve your stress. Can I have the next slide, please? Thank you. Adapt. The third one is adapt to the stressor. Now look at the big picture. It's very important. Sometimes when we look at certain things, that oh my god, I've got the exam coming up in 6 months down the line, I'm already feeling so stressed about it. Well, it's 6 months, that itself can be a bigger picture, that okay, I have 6 months, I have plenty of time, I can really work it out as a strategically how I want to structure my uh, the studies or whatever is their exams, and then you can go for it. So this is something I'm talking about with the aim of your studies. But if you are looking at some conflicts is happening in your family, or some conflicts happen in your group, even at that point of time, having a bigger picture always helps, that what is really happening and what am I actually participating in. Am I being triggered by something, and then not allowing myself to look at the bigger frame, where actually it doesn't really matter at this point of time. So these things like that can really help you reduce the stress. Adjust your standards. That means that think about how you want to play out in that, either in a conflict, either in any kind of relationship issues. Where do you want, what kind of strategies, the standards which you want to come across, right? So you think about yourself. Focus on the positives. At the end of the day, that is what we want, whether in any relationship, any friendships, any uh, groups, even. So here you want to look around. At the end of the day, what is it that positive I'm getting from this particular situation? And when you will think about that, you will automatically reduce the stress which is kind of associated with it, that why am I feeling so negative about everything. Next slide, please. Accept the things which you can't change. Now, um, most of the time we struggle to accept things. There is always an issue with acceptance, because we want to change, because we do not like that what has happened to us or in the situation, and we want to really really control that, because control gives us some kind of safety or some kind of sense of feeling, okay, this is what I have always been doing, so that is what I'm going to do now. But maybe now it demands change, it demands, it's not in your control. So maybe you can give yourself that permission, that don't try to control the uncontrollable. Share your feelings, it's very important. I was reading one of the questions yesterday where Nishta shared with me, and in one of that she talked about, the one of the question was that how do I even express my feelings or my thoughts towards my parents or my family, or even with my friends who do not want to understand, or feels like a stigma, where you cannot talk about it. Well, here it's all about expressing. Even if you cannot express to no one, you can start expressing towards yourself, acknowledging it, that yes, this is exactly I'm feeling right now. Most of the time we hide those feelings. So that is the beginning, if I may say. And then you can take it from there. Later I'm going to speak to about what you can talk about, what you can talk with your family, and how you can invite them to understand mental health in a much more better way. Coming back to this, learn to forgive. It's very important that forgiveness towards our own self and then others, they both are very very important. Most of the time we, maybe you may not forget, but at that point of time forgiveness brings a lot of space, a lot of good energy which you don't want to uh, you know uh, waste in a energy which is nothing is going to give it to you at that point of time. But at least if you can forgive that person or an incident or an experience, and allow yourself to clear that path for that momentarily, you will feel that sense of a liberation in your sense of self, that I don't have to put that baggage on my mind all the time. uh,
Can I
and
say something here,
yeah,
Sejal?
yes, yes, sir, please go.
Now, here, one thing about forgiveness is also that you don't have to really wait for somebody to come and ask for forgiveness.
Yeah,
Now,
that's true.
it's very important that you forgive at your end. Now, it's your feelings which matter, it's your heart which matters, and unless and until you really don't mm, forgive somebody from your end, that person coming and asking for forgiveness is not the point over here.
Mm,
It gives a lot of relief.
absolutely.
Yeah, please, Sejal.
Yeah, absolutely, sir, completely agree on that. uh, so can I have the next slide, please? Right. Now, this is so important. Make time for fun and relaxation. If you really have to remember, if I may ask you, when was the last time you really chilled out, you really had a great time? And it will straight take you to your childhood experiences where, you would play around with your friends, cycling, badminton, or whatever, whatever which used to please you. It was almost like you were a free child. You didn't had to think or feel, am I doing right or wrong? Right, and that is the energy which we are looking even at, especially in your age, where you are in this transition of becoming, or kind of, or you have become a new adult, young adult, and still that childhoodness of you is still there, and somewhere back of your families, come on, grow up now. You don't want to become like a child anymore. But here I'm actually encouraging all of you, bring that part of you, bring that side of you, because it's essentially will help you to release that stress which you are holding on to, which is really sometimes drown you in. So set aside relaxation time. It can be any time. Whether you like a movie with a friend, whether you like to do some mindfulness coloring, if you are into some uh, playing as in sports, which would be fantastic. Anything, if you like cooking, baking, talking with someone, anything. Find your own niche, but create that. Make a tool. I usually suggest my client that create a tool, like a small box, and then write it down in a piece of paper. What is it that I want to do today? Because sometimes we actually forget what I want to do today. So it's always good, like you write 20, 25 activities in a kind of a copy, and then you put it in that box. It's like a specialized toolbox for you. And that today I'm really overwhelmed. Today I'm going to pick one of the activity and I'm going to do that. And trust me, it really helps, because it's kind of, you are going back to that experience of your joyfulness. um, Connect with others. Most of the time when we experience stress, anxiety, sometimes panic, uh, we tend to get into that isolation zone very quickly, because there is a sense of fear. There is a sense of, I don't know what people will think of about me, or there is a part of me is actually quite frightened that, how do I show this part of myself where people don't even understand. And that's where we disconnect. And the problem with disconnection is that we start fixing things around us, and at that point of time, fixing doesn't work. Connection would work. And the more you will connect yourself with anyone who is near and dear to you, and even if you push a little bit about towards yourself towards them, you would really experience that actually the catastrophic thought which I was having around on my head, actually it's not even true. People are still willing to hear and listen and being available to me, but somewhere I stop to myself to not to go towards them, which is the most of the time that is the case. So allow that part of you to ways to connect. Okay, some people are introvert, some people are extrovert. Even the people who are introvert, even if you do not like social gathering, or you might experience social anxiety, especially in your age group, it does happen and it does exist. I would highly recommend people who experience with the introvert nature, they would start connecting with whatever the art form, whether they like coloring, painting, drawing, writing poems, whatever. Its idea, bottom line is connect. connect with something where you can express your feelings. It is so important. uh, do something you enjoy every day. It is, again, I'm not going to repeat myself, but I already told how important it is. And the last one, keep your sense of humor. It is so important. Somehow we feel that, the more we grow in our life, we have to be quite serious, we have to be quite very attentive and mature, and have to say the perfect word and perfect this and that. I don't need to show myself that part of me, where people may laugh at me. But actually, if you look at any situation which may give you that stressor, one of the antidote of that stressor is good sense of humor, right? Even reading a joke book, and few taking some jokes out of it, just laughing at yourself, that also can, that will shaken that iceberg of the stress which you are holding on at that point of time. So I also want to introduce one more thing in there, which I think I have not written. I want to introduce uh, one breathing exercise to all of you, which might be very helpful, especially when you are experiencing this stress, because your body is completely stiff at that point of time. You are not able to experience, what is available in front of you. Your panic, your breathing is really high at that point of time. This particular exercise, called 478, it's a breathing exercise specially been designed to reduce that stress, that panic, anxiety quickly, and you would see that physiologically as well, along with psychologically, of course. I'm going to take a couple of minutes, and then I'm handing over to Dr. Sabe. So in here, uh, before, and this you can do at least 4 to 5 times in a day, especially if your exams are coming and you know that you are finding that, uh, that I'm actually feeling really fearful right now. I don't know, I'm kind of complete blank out. You are really in that anxiety mode. Do this. So the count of 4, you are going to inhale through your nose, and the count of 7, you are going to hold that breathe, and the count of 8, you're going to exhale through your mouth. So at the count of 4, I'm just going to remove my specs. You can see me. If you want to do along with me, would be great. So on the count of 4, deep healing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Relax. I know this is just a glimpse for you, and if you want to know this particular exercise, you can actually go to the YouTube, and you will find quite a bit on that. But this is a fantastic stress reliever, and you can use this on a daily basis. Uh, I think this is. I hope this is helpful to all of you up to so far. Dr. Savi, if you want to please want to add something on top of it.
The can the audience be a little interactive if I ask them a few questions? Do we have that facility for audience interaction?
So we are
Hello,
getting
hear me?
so we are getting questions in the
Yeah.
live chat. Yes, sir. So
No,
this is
no, no, no.
audible.
That way, not that way.
So we are getting
If
questions
I
in the
want to ask,
YouTube live.
okay, no, no. If I want the audience to answer a few questions which I want to ask, is it possible? No.
So the few of us are here. You can ask us questions if that
Okay,
works for you.
okay. That works nice. Now, Sejal has already covered up almost everything that's regarding to stress. And as I said, many a times, or most of the times, even Mark Twain said the same things, that he was stressed out about many things in his life, out of which very few really happened. So, unfortunately, many a times, or most of the times, the stress is at the level of mind. Now it's very easy for all of us to say this, that don't take stress, टेंशन मत ले यार, न हर बार बोलते हैं ना ऑल इज वेल, उस वक्त के लिए काम कर जाता है, फिर वापस क्या होता है, वापस वही ऑल इज वेल का बोलना पड़ता है. लेकिन बहुत बार ऑल इज वेल बोलो ना, तो उसके बाद में यू कैन रियली स्टार्ट नॉट टेकिंग अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ स्ट्रेस. But then the stress is at the level of thoughts. And what we always want to do is control our thoughts. Nobody can be without thoughts. Only Gautam Buddha did it once, and he's unique. Staying in the state where there is zero, no tomorrow, no yesterday, only present. Anybody like that in this speakers panel? Anybody who's managed that? Some of you may say that, except when I'm whatever out. So whatever said and done, that is something which we are not looking forward for. But what we are looking forward for is a fair enough control of thoughts, where we can actually try to have our thoughts under some control. I'll talk about that because Sejal has already spoken about everything else. Now, can somebody over here tell me how do we think apart from Sejal, because she actually knows everything? So can somebody comment about how you think? We have been doing that from, I think, age of 5, ever since we became proficient enough to think. So till now. So how do you guys think? Huh. Himanshu, you're saying something? Naitik, I can see just Himanshu, Naitik, Shashank, or Shreya. Any of you want to come in and say how do you think? Because this is something which we have been doing all the time. See, it's how do we think? It's a question which I want to ask. So, anybody has any comment on it?
So I don't have an absolute technical answer, but
Himanshu, I
what I
cannot
think
hear
is,
you.
hello. So am I
Hello.
audible now? So am I audible now?
Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, I can. Yes, sir.
Now I can hear.
Yeah.
Now,
So, I don't know an absolute technical answer to this, but what I think could be a possible one would be the daily experiences that we have around us, and the elements of nature that we consume every single day, be it in instances that we are a part of, makes us put into a position where we would adapt to it differently, which eventually does make us think as per the situation demands.
right,
So it
you're
could
telling me
primarily.
technically now you're talking about the content of it, the domain knowledge of thinking.
Right, right.
But how what is technically done when we are thinking? I'll tell you very
So
simple,
that
very simple. It's when we are thinking, we are just talking to ourselves. Don't we do that? We just speak with ourselves. So in simple words, we are speaking all the time, except for the time when we are sleeping or we are doing some focused work. Now, apart from that, we are always speaking. Either we are speaking with somebody else or we are speaking with ourselves. Now, if we understand this fact that we are speaking, see, now I asked this question, but all of us knew that we are speaking with ourselves, but none of us were almost conscious about it. It's like a ज्ञान कि अरे मैं तो खुद से ही बात करता हूँ जब सोचता हूँ तब. अभी इतनी सिंपल सी बात है कि what we are thinking, if it is as simple as having a conversation with yourself, don't you feel that you can steer the conversation on the right side? Very simple, right? So basically, if you really want to take control of your thought process, you have to start steering your conversation on the correct side. You have to start becoming like a good counselor of yourself or whatever. For that, one step before that, which is required, is that most of the times, why this thing was not aware to you that you are talking to yourself is because we are not aware what we are thinking. We are just not aware. It's just like something starts naturally, goes on naturally, and goes on till it creates a response. As I said at the beginning of my talk, that somewhere, unfortunately, your thoughts are going to have equal or more than required response to the real situation. Means you lose your job, many a times I'll tell you, more people die of heart attacks and of strokes and of complications of medical illnesses when they are going through a trial rather than once they are sent to the jail. You can see once they are sent to the jail ना, जेल पे आप देखो बेल या जेल मिलने तक का फोटो जो रहता है आदमी का, किसी हीरो का, और वापस वो बाहर निकलता है उस दिन का उसका फोटो, is much better. He comes out in a better shape. So what is very important is for us to understand that once the verdict is given and the stress comes, it's comparatively much lesser than the stress which we go through at the time when we are undergoing that thought process. What is going to happen, what is not going to happen, what is going to happen, what is not going to happen. So we have to really take a charge of our thinking. First is that we have to start becoming aware of what is going on in our head. That is most important. Especially, don't be aware of it all the time, but especially whenever you have something which is making you feel a little uneasy, become aware of it. Nicely become aware of it. Just go down, and come to the first thought. The first thought could be as trivial as, my exams are going to be in May or April, and then it starts off. अरे मेरा तो अभी तक पोर्शन खत्म नहीं हुआ है, क्या होगा, मैंने पढ़ाई, बाकी के सब लोग बैठ के पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं, मैं ही हूं जो नहीं कर रही हूं. Or it could be as trivial as I'm feeling bad today. Then I go down the chain of thoughts and yesterday's party, that girl, she was not talking to me very properly. Why is she? Last time when I met her, she was so nice, and then I did so much. I've been sending her so many messages. आज वो ऐसे क्यों बात कर रही थी? अरे छोड़ना यार, वो क्यों कर रही थी? उसका मूड खराब रहेगा कि मेरा मूड अच्छा नहीं रहेगा, कि आज मैं अच्छी नहीं दिख रही हूँ, कि आज मैं अच्छा दिख रहा हूँ, कि जो कुछ रहेगा. Leave it. But then the first thing is so trivial that you can actually just change it by smiling on it, laughing on it, or leaving it apart, and not extending that chain of thoughts to further and further. I've seen people who have not even gotten COVID coming to me with panic attacks, with the imagination of what is going to happen to their children, 50-year-old plus. No, obviously they are in that category where people have scared them. So what will happen to their children, whereas they still haven't got a COVID, when they are off this world and all. So imagination can take you anywhere. So first is become aware, second is come to the first thought, see if it is real, if it is solvable, solve it, find a way out of, otherwise kick it out, and keep doing this habit till your brain gets into this habit. See, everything is a habit. Because we were doing it yesterday, we are doing it today, and we'll go on doing it tomorrow, day after, and it will become more and more stronger. The way I talk is also my habit. If tomorrow morning onwards I decide that when I start talking like this, I'll stop myself and start talking like Amitabh Bachchan, after a month my tone will become like Amitabh Bachchan. So till now the habit has been to let your horses run haywire and wild, with regards to their thought process. Tomorrow morning when it starts running around, stop it where it is required. Where it is not required, nice fantasies, go ahead. If you're going to become a CEO of the most greatest startup in the year 2022, fair enough, let it run. Absolutely no problem. बट नेगेटिव जहां पे लग रहा है ना कि कुछ अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है, वहां पे थॉट प्रोसेस को कंट्रोल करने की आदत डालो. इन अ फ्यू डेज यू विल रियलाइज दैट you have started controlling it at first or second thought itself. You know where to say no to your thought. It's very, very important. So, this is a simple way of controlling your thought. See what you're talking, go back down to what it started, and control your talking. Talk with yourself as a nice, good psychologist. Fair enough. Second is what dictates our thought process. Very important. Now, again, I'll ask you guys, you want to answer what dictates our thought process?
Uh, so,
Naitik?
so if you
Acha,
don't, so if you
Himanshu.
don't mind, just before you move on, since you were at that point,
Huh.
I would like to address this one question that we have also gotten from our audience.
Yeah,
You
sure.
said that negative thoughts are something that you need to process well and not let it take the better of you. Like the audience asks that how to get rid of overthinking because as it takes a toll on the mental health. Because thinking might
Precisely, but I'll tell you one thing. That's precisely what I need to tell the audience here, that there is nothing called as overthinking. All of us have got 24 hours, right? Out of that, whatever time we are focused on something else and we are working or we are sleeping, we don't think. Other time we are going to think. I made that very clear. Nobody is there who is not thinking. So we all have equal amount of thinking. There is nobody who's doing overthinking. What is the popular concept of overthinking is that thinking about unwanted and same thing again and again. That is what is called as overthinking, right, Himanshu? So what we need to do is precisely what I told you. When you realize that you're thinking about the same thing, take it down and smile on it, say that I'm not going to think about it. It's as simple as that, because many a times difficult looking solutions have got simple answers. Difficult looking questions have got simple answers. With regards to thought processes, we think that something great has to be done. Nothing great has to be done. It has to be just taken down. You realize that you're going to talk with yourself the same thing about same topic again and again, and then you will say that I'm overthinking. If you think about 10 different things, you're not going to feel overthought, and everybody goes on thinking. So just do that very simple thing, that say no to this thought process. It will stop. If it does not stop, give it a smile. It will go away by itself. Simple thing. See, whenever you smile to yourself, the negative thought processes stop. That's the reason why you'll always see a smile on faces of all saints and politicians. They are smart enough to do that. So keep a smiling face, keep a laughing face. That's why last point which Sejal said, what have humor in your life. So keep a smiling face, and in case there is a grim situation, bring a smile. Your brain will get confused. It will say कि अरे grim situation है, smile कर रहा है, इतनी grim नहीं है, छोड़ दो यार. It takes, what I'm saying is jovially, but it has got a scientific basis, because our brain takes cues from our body. That's the reason why that breathing exercise, those who do yoga are comparatively less stressed out. Those who play sports are comparatively less stressed out. Those who have a smile on their face, as I said, saints and politicians are less stressed out. Sometimes I wonder how come these politicians do so much of things and still they are so happy. That's because they always have a smile on their face. So keep a smile on your face. Not always that silly grin may get you out of an interview or something, or serious situation में serious चेहरा करो. लेकिन many a times, most of the times, keep a smile on your face, and especially in grim situations which are useless, bring a smile to your face. You'll get a solution very easily. That solution is always of letting going of that issue. So coming to that point, second thing is that this question of yours is the ability to accept unacceptable situation is also very important to avoid what we conventionally called as overthinking. Why are we thinking again and again about that particular situation? Because unfortunately we have not accepted it. And if we don't accept it as something which has happened or is unsolvable or which is to be let go, we are not going to let go of it. So please increase your ability to accept unacceptable situations with complete at the emotional value, not at the intellectual value. Intellectually everybody knows कि इसको छोड़ना है, लेकिन इमोशनली नहीं छोड़ते. ब्रेक ऑफ होता है, कुछ लोग रहते हैं जो पता करते कि हाँ ब्रेक ऑफ हो गया यार, उसको अभी परस्यू नहीं करते. दुख भी हो गया, बहुत दुख हो गया, 2 दिन रोया, बस अभी छोड़ देता हूं, और छोड़ देते 2 दिन में. कोई है जो 2 साल पकड़ के रखता है, goes on talking to everybody in the campus. अरे मेरे साथ ऐसे हुआ, मैंने इतना डाला था रिलेशनशिप में, मैंने इतना किया था, मैंने इतना नहीं किया था, उसके लिए ये नहीं किया, कोई कारण ही नहीं था, मैं तो इतना अच्छा था, इतनी सिंपल सी चीज मुझे समझ के नहीं लेते. Why? We know that what you're doing is basically keeping yourself unhappy. So at some point you may accept it. After 2 years you have wasted 2 years. If you accept it after 1 month, you have hello, can you, this is,
Yes, so you're audible.
hello, I'm audible. No, I went, my entire platform went off for a second. Clear na? Is it okay? Yeah. So
Yes,
where
sir.
was I was at acceptance. So somebody accepts it within 2 days, very nice, and somebody becomes a devdas, doesn't accept it till he drinks to death. So basically, don't destroy yourself by not accepting things. Learn to accept things as soon as possible. You will be able to let go of them, because whatever we accept, whatever we become comfortable, we are easily able to let go of them. That is second thing for stopping overthinking. So these two things really help you in stopping overthinking. Third thing which I was going to talk about, I'll just go on in this breath itself. Now, I can go on now for another 5 minutes on this particular topic. Is for good positive way of thought process and being in control of everything, you require a good mood, a very good mood. And for a good mood, you require to have, again going back to thought process, because these two things are interrelated. Once you're in a good mood, you can always manage almost everything. On a day of good mood, if somebody in a rush, somebody gives you a dhakka or somebody coughs on your face, you'll say that, "अरे ठीक है भाई, ऐसा मत कर, छोड़ देना," laughingly, smilingly. But if it's a bad mood day, you'll pick up a fight. Hey, why did you push me? You don't know it's COVID time. You don't know where to cough, where not to cough. You'll get into argument. Why? Because your mood was bad. So you see things in a different perspective according to your mood. The same brain, same person, same situation, mood good, different thing, mood bad. So it's very important keep your mood very good. That's very important. How do you keep your mood good? As Sejal said, bring in all those things which he has said, like bring in the sport in your life, bring in everything in your life. And very important thing, learn to appreciate small good things. It's like this, that when we talk in our brain, now our thought process, we bring in a emotion. What people have learned in this particular era is that they tend to bring in comments only about things which are not happening good, and we have forgotten to appreciate small good things. Do you realize that sipping a good cup of coffee, we just don't think about it. लेकिन कुछ थोड़ा सा गलत हुआ तो we have lots of comments about shit. This is going bad, yeah. This is that. This is that. This is that. Complaining that makes our mood bad. So now bring in a habit in your life to bring in comment about every small thing which happens good, or seeing everything in a good way. If there is sunshine, rather than saying कि कितना heat है, say that I'm getting good amount of vitamin D. If there is rain, instead of cribbing about the water and rain, enjoy it. If there is tea, sip it and say that you had a good tea. If you find Dr. Save's lecture good, say that he spoke very well. So just start commenting about everything in a very positive perspective, and you will realize that your mood starts going very nice and good. And once the mood good goes good, you'll start seeing things in a much better perspective. So these simple things I've told you about, let us try to put them. Many other things will come in question answer session, but I think we should go to question answer session because we are already at 12:10. So anything else you want to know from me?
So I think we'll get on with the questions now.
Yeah, let us get on with the questions.
Sir Aryan Agarwal, he has a question. He's posted a question. He's asking how to learn to accept certain unwanted situations.
Sejal, you would like to start, then I'll come to it. Although I have spoken a bit about it,
Yeah,
but I'll also add after you finish.
uh, actually, Dr. Save already mentioned about the almost given you the answer about how acceptance helps you to move on. Now, the question is that how do I accept something which I do not like, or or maybe I don't want that to happen that way. Now, that is what we are get disturbed by, isn't it? कि मुझे वो control चाहिए कि ये होना ही नहीं चाहिए था on the first place. Now that's life. Somewhere कहीं ना कहीं we need to understand the basic life strategy that life will throw you some flowers, some stones, and then we need to live along with both, right? I only want flowers in my life. That is not going to happen, and and only stones also not going to come. Okay, we need to learn both ways. कि flowers आया उसको भी accept किया and stones आया उसको भी accept करेंगे. Stone doesn't mean weakness. Stones doesn't mean failure. Stone definitely doesn't mean that it's identify who you are as a person, but it is kind of strengthening who you are as a person at that point of time. And until unless you don't accept it, you if you keep fighting with it, you are going to waste all your energy, which you could have actually replaced in the process of finding that strength for you, right? So sir was giving an example about you might have a breakup. This is an amazing age where you would be getting infatuated with each other. You might fall in love somewhere, or somewhere, and then there is a breakup. You have invested so much in that person, in that relationship, and now you don't want to accept because there is a lot of investment has gone. emotional or whatever. Now you do your grieving process. You make sure that that loss has been acknowledged. You you identify that it was a big part of my life, but that is not your life. That cannot be the center of your life. Any experiences which you are going to gonna go through in your life, they are just experience. They are going to add in the journey of your life per se. That is not something that okay, ye breakup ho gaya, then breakup is the center of who I am. I'm always going to be the loser, which we somehow, we think that way, that nothing is there now anymore. We come up to the ultimate, right? And that is where when you start accepting slowly and steadily, it's okay. I'm sure I'm gonna have my set of flowers as well and my set of stones as well. Today is a day of stone. Tomorrow there is going to be flower. And that hope, we all live on the faith of that leap of hope, that faith, right? And that is what we need to continue with the acceptance that this is it. That acceptance doesn't mean that you can't change certain things. That is a myth. A lot of people ask me that, do you mean that if we have to accept and then we don't have to do anything? No, you accept whatever has happened, but you would not ask to change that particular situation. You would do something beyond to repair your own self and to move on, because जो हो गया है वो तो हो गया, correct? So that is why acceptance is extremely important. This is how you can be kind to yourself. You can give that compassion towards yourself and move on. I hope that answers what the question was about.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
so I'll put in a few more inputs to this. One is for acceptance. One is first and the foremost, you have to change your hats. In the sense, you will not be able to accept things unless and until you're wearing a emotional hat. So remove the emotional hat and put a very intellectual hat when you are going to have a technical thought about whether to accept, because not everything has to be accepted. If you failed in your exam and you feel like leaving the course, you don't just accept that thing that okay, I failed, let's leave this course, give it up and go away. Not everything in this world has to be accepted. Here you'll have to fight and get back to things. So basically, for first is that the situation has to be well thought about, and it has to be thought about at a intellectual level, not at the emotional level. So first thing which you do whenever there is an unacceptable situation, leave all the emotions aside. रोना धोना बंद करना है. उसके बारे में जो दुख लग रहा है उसको भी बाजू में रखना है. बैठना है. If you cannot do it alone, sit with your good intellectually minded friend, not with your emotionally supportive friend who is going to give you a shoulder to cry or a pat on your back about everything wrong you say and increase and inflame your emotions, but with somebody who is going to sit and discuss the solutions out of it. So sit, draw out your solutions, write them down if you want to, become technical about it, and take a decision to implement the technical things which you do in life, which you have decided in life. See, the key success in this world is going into a mode where you can do things which are not, which your mind does not want to accept at that moment. Like if you are, that is basically getting out of your comfort zone. And it's a practice. If you practice it over years, to look at things technically, understand what is to be done, what is not to be done, and implementing that in your life and becoming strong enough to just carry on with that every time your emotional mind comes up, ask it to shut up and start doing what is required in your life. After a few days, you realize that you can accept things very fast, you can implement things very fast, you can do things beyond your capacities, and you again, my am I audible by any chance? Am I can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah, so that is one thing which needs to be done because I lost out. So I think last I was saying is that you have to become very, very technical and start becoming like this so that you can accept a lot of things and technically implement them. Second is wherever the situation is something which is troubling you beyond the point and you are unable to accept it, please go and take a help. Clinical psychologists, counseling psychologists are trained to help you out with a situation which in which your brain understands but is not being able to implement. That's the point where you require a direction. Maybe sometimes we'll just come to that aspect also very soon. Now, maybe sometimes we may have gone into a state of anxiety or a depressive state because of those unacceptable situations where help is required. So if technically it is not as easy as it is done, the mind is not being able to let go of things, it is bringing a reaction to it in form of biological symptoms like loss of sleep, appetite, other things. Will come to just identification of some common psychological disorders also. Take help. But overall, if you start looking at things in a very, very technically right perspective, use your intellect instead of your emotions, implement them and let go of it very nicely, accept it and let go of it. Now, you will be able to accept those unacceptable situations in a much better manner.
So, sir, you just said about seeking help, right? So, in that context, we have a couple of questions here. So, I'm gonna join them both. So, the first one is regular visits to therapist or a counselor is very expensive. What should individuals who cannot afford professional help do? That's the first part. And the second one is self-therapy apps are gaining popularity among college students. Do you think these apps are actually helpful, or should students seek professional help without trying these self-therapy apps?
Frankly speaking, the second question I would not be able to answer because I have not seen these apps, unfortunately. So commenting about something which I have not seen about and what they offer would be a wrong part on my part. I think maybe Sejal has seen them. She can definitely answer about it because sometimes things are very valuable and we just discard them out of our own this thing which we should not do. About the first question, see, I'll before that can I think we are going to have a last part of it in form of just a mental health awareness. So do I do that now to answer this question so that you people are aware that what are the warning signs where you need to consult somebody? Do I tell you about it now?
So I think we can have a couple of more questions and then,
And then after that,
yeah.
so with regards to the expense part of therapists, I completely agree with you that therapy is something which is nowadays become quite expensive, and it is in fact something where a person spends an hour with you, so they charge also in that kind of a balance. But there are a lot of places where therapy is available, especially with government institutes and medical colleges for absolutely free. Second is that there are lots of NGOs which offer sessions to patients who are not affordable at a very affordable price of 200 rupees, 400 rupees, 300 rupees, uh, and charge reasonably. Or there are lots of therapists who give concessions also where they are charging well too. So you can always find out. Will What we can do is that we can make a list of such places and maybe circulate it amongst ourselves so that we can avail of those services. Nishta, we can work on it.
Yeah. So one more thing regarding related to this is just like you said. So one person asked that just like we consult doctors for physical problems, we should easily consult therapists for mental ailments. But orthodox parents treat this as a stigma. How would you advise students who feel the need to seek help to explain these things to their parents?
See, first and the foremost, we need to understand that brain itself is a part of our body. We have to understand that. Although technically we understand things and we know that this thought can be done, that can be done, and it seems to be, it's not so easy when it comes to certain neurochemical imbalances or very, very rigid thought patterns, which are called as personalities. So I'll uh, tell you that maybe if we consider just four neurochemicals over here, one is serotonin, second is dopamine, third is adrenaline, and fourth is GABA. I'm just talking a little technically. Serotonin is something which takes charge of our thought processes. So there's a place called as anterior cingulate where if serotonin is less, no matter how much you want to let go of certain thought processes, especially negative ones, you are just unable to do it. It can even lead to something called as OCD. Now, dopamine is something which is very important for pleasure and motivation. If that goes down, no matter how much you like this cereal till yesterday, today suddenly it stops giving you that same happiness. No matter how much you like to do run or cycle or talk with your friends, it just does not, the brain just does not give you the emotion of happiness back. The motivation to study, which was there yesterday, is no longer there because that dopamine has gone down. Adrenaline gives your brain energy. GABA brings in anxiety. Now, technically, in all these situations where the neurochemicals have gone up or down, you understand that this should not be so because the intellectual part of your brain works on something else, but the responsiveness part of the brain works on some these chemicals. So when they are down, there is no other way in which you have to patiently wait for them to come back, or you have to treat them like everybody else does. So this first technical understanding we have to have that certain things are happening at a very technical neurochemical level in your brain, leading to disorders which are called as depressive disorders or called as obsessive compulsive disorders or anxiety disorders or psychotic disorders. Everybody except psychosis. See, if you go insane, then they catch you and take you to a psychiatrist. No question about it. उसके बारे में दो thoughts नहीं है. But who suffer are those who are suffering from anxieties. Who suffer those who are suffering from depression. Who suffer those who are suffering from obsessive compulsive disorders. Who suffer those who are having rigid thought patterns in form of personality disorders. They understand that I should not be so much emotional here. मैं इतना क्यों हर्ट हो जाती हूँ, मैं इतना क्यों हर्ट हो जाता हूँ, मुझे मुझे इतनी तकलीफ क्यों होती है, मैं इसी तरह से छोटी छोटी चीजों के ऊपर झगड़ा क्यों करते रहता हूँ. लेकिन दैट अंडरस्टैंडिंग इज देयर यू रिक्वायर अ थेरेपिस्ट टू रियली हेल्प यू टू अंडरस्टैंड योर रॉन्ग थॉट पैटर्न्स एंड ब्रिंग इट टू राइट. You require a psychiatrist where there is a impairment of your imbalance of your neurochemicals to bring those neurochemicals back to normalcy with help of medications. Science has advanced. Now, if you understand these things, you can always help your parents to understand it. For them to say that these are matters which are to be done by just changing your thoughts, getting up on time, doing a yoga in the morning. मेरे को भी बड़े बड़े टेंशन आके गए थे लेकिन मैंने इन सब के ऊपर से निकल गया. Are things of yesterday. And technically, most of the parents, see, I'll tell you one thing, lots of parents have changed, especially with regards to mental health. They understand the value of mental health of their child. If the child comes and tells them about things very clearly, that what they're going through, explains to them what could be the basis of it after you yourself understanding and accepting it. Help Mr. Google also to help your parents understand, because nowadays people trust Google more than a professional. And if I tell them that this is a common side effect, but nowadays needs from right from beginning, I ask my patients to go on Google and check out all the medications and see the side effects and just keep them in their mind and get back to me if they get any of them. And so we have to use Mr. Google or any other search engine to give you, or any of the mental health platforms to help you to realize it. There are lots of testings which can be done, screenings which can be done. PHQ9 is something for depression. Generalized anxiety scales are there. Beck scales are there. Various scales are there which are freely available online, which you can test yourself to see whether you have any of the disorders. And when you technically present it to your parents, most of the times they don't disagree. If at all they are still disagreeing, then I think you can always insist on one consultation with a good psychiatrist or a psychologist with them in together, and the professional will explain to them what the problem is and how it has to be tackled. I think the awareness is becoming much better, but we have to understand this and accept this also.
So one of the questions that are there is that, just a second, just a second. Yeah, when people face failures, there is something which remain in their memories, and it's a scar for their entire lifetime, right? How to erase such negative thoughts and look towards the positive aspects of life? This is one question. Second, sir, I have a personal question. So I have read somewhere, I've read a lot of places, that if you do not pay attention to your thoughts, like even if they're negative thoughts, if you do not pay attention to your thoughts, that's like running away from them. And at a later point of time, they will come back and haunt you, right? So just like you and Miss Sejal also said sometime previously, that if there are some thoughts which are, difficult for you, you may just laugh at them and you just let it go. So
Hmm.
is it the same as not confronting them, or is it something different, and what should we do about it?
See, if you don't pay attention to something which is serious, it is definitely going to get back to you. Means if your sugars have come at a pre-diabetic level, or your weight is already at around 70 kgs and 75 kgs, and you're not going to pay attention to it, it is going to increase and cause you problem. So you have to understand what has to be given. But if a 62 kg man is saying that I'm emaciated, then definitely it has to be just let go. So you have to, as I said, first important thing is that you have to put your intellectual hat, look at your thoughts, and then decide what has to be left aside and what has not to be left aside. So don't let go of thoughts which are important. Pursue them till you find a solution to them and they are calmed down. But those which are not important, definitely let go of them and laugh on it or leave it, or whatever you have to do. Now, your first question was what, Shashank?
So it was related to this. It was said that there are some instances
Right,
which
incidences.
yeah,
Incidences.
have
See,
a scar on our memories.
yeah, I'll just answer in a line or two, and then I'll ask Sejal to elaborate on it. See, these are certain things which can cause something called as PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. It's a very important condition which can debilitate you from being very extremely right and properly responsive in your life in future. It can evoke a severe anxiety response. It can cause a lot of anxiety if in case it is not dealt properly. So such things which have caused so much of trauma to you has to be dealt at the level of a therapist. In fact, technically speaking, something called as amygdala becomes expanded in patients who have got these sort of negative experiences. It's a technical change which happens in the level of at the level of brain also. So it's a very technical thing. It has to be handled very well. I think Sejal would be able to tell you a little more elaborately than me about these sort of things, which are traumatic events, which are leading to a bad state of mind.
Um, so specifically for the PTSD, that is a traumatic experience which we can experience somewhere in our life. It's normal to feel frightened, sad, anxious. Sometimes you feel disconnected, but the upset which you are experiencing, it doesn't fade. Maybe for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, month, 2 month, 3 months. That's your sign that something is wrong, right? Sometimes you do ask question, when is the right time to go to a therapist or a psychiatrist? This is the time you evaluate, you keep observing yourself. Why am I feeling this way? Why why am I feeling upset all the time? Why do I feel this sense of fear? I'm not able to sleep in the night. I'm having experiencing of nightmares. The bad dream comes and wake me in that the panic and the anxiety, and I cannot go back to sleep. So there are many other symptoms, and I'm sure, as Dr. Save said, that you can Google it. There are many symptoms. Some really good websites are there who can really help you to at least check yourself where you are, and then you can take a call that maybe it's a time I can go to a therapist or a psychiatrist who can make me understand, is this what you are experiencing. But I would only request you that do not diagnose yourself. Just reading something on website and Google and all doesn't mean that that is what you are going, right? So that's what we are here for. Okay, we are trained, and we can help you uh, to let you know what is really going on and what kind of help is needed, right? Don't, because the last thing you want is checking yourself. You become the taking the whole analysis in yourself and then getting more panic than you were actually ever before. So don't do that. I would highly request that. Even if your friend is experiencing something, don't become their counselor, don't become their therapist. Okay, yeah, that is why we are
So
here. Yeah.
one thing which I'll add over here, which is very important. See, now most of the solutions to problems of past don't lie in resolving the past. No, it does lie in resolving the past, is what the therapist will tell you. But my personal experience over years after seeing people is that it is in present. Till you're unhappy in present, you will always blame all your past and feel extremely disturbed about it because you are unhappy and unsuccessful in present. The day you become successful, you become happy, become accomplished in present. That same person who has had scars in past will stand up on a podium and give a lecture of how bad his past was and tell people that how good the present is, and that is because of the goodness of the present. So if you really want to resolve your past, the best way is to start concentrating on present. Though you may require therapy to resolve, to get your brain that kind of a state of mind where you can start concentrating on present rather than past, but this is the key. The day you become successful, you become happy in today's life, all the things of past are looked with pride that I've overcome them. And if you're unhappy, things of past becomes a reason to haunt you very badly. So start concentrating on today, start concentrating on your growth, start concentrating on your success, start concentrating on a state of mind which is positive, and I think you'll automatically resolve a lot of things. Automatically, it really brings in a very nice solution to many problems which are not solvable because unfortunately they have happened and gone.
Yeah. I think also, sir, it's also about understanding how resiliency and your grit can help you overcome this in your present scenario. So you all are blessed with the resilience to fall down and get back up, right? And comparing, not comparing with others, but comparing yourself, that where you were 5 years back and where you are, and how well you have done to yourself, no matter what. So this is the reference point of today. That is what Dr. Savi is talking about, present. But this is where I am, and look where I was. So keep that in mind. Keep comparing with that part of you which were like, how am I when going to go and achieve this thing? And today you actually did that, and you're surprised. "अरे, ऐसे कैसे हो गया?" And that is how it is going to happen 5 years down the line. Keeping this reference where you want to go ahead, and that is something what I understood Savi was saying as well. Focus on present, be mindful, and this happens with the help of one of the main element is mindfulness, and it's one of the most important uh, part of our. It's a way of life. Like the exercise is a way of life. Good eating habits is a way of. Mindfulness is also a way of life. It needs to be incorporated 24/7. The more mindful you are, the more present you are, the more your behaviors, the reactions and the response, and how in that between that pause which you want to give between the reaction and the response, that pause would come with the help of mindfulness, because I want to have a pause before I react to something, right? And that would be, so anything which sound very simple, they are not easy. It needs day to day effort, right? And if you can think about, while growing up as a child, your parents was, all our parents have like pushed us to the washroom and do your brush, even we didn't like it, but now it's part of us. Even if today you are in a despair, you will not forget to do your brush or doing the routine chore, because that has been ingrained in your brain. But now mindfulness is a skill you have to learn now. It takes time and it needs effort, right? So that is the difficulty, but most of the people struggle, that we are not able to do consistent work, right? It's not about not to do. Yeah, sorry, somebody was saying.
No, no, no,
Oh
I
yeah,
was
sir,
not.
sir.
So it got no, this thing
Yeah, yeah,
unmuted by
no worries,
mistake.
sir.
Sorry.
No, so I was just ending up with that it's a fantastic practice, and I just want to attach this particular link with, I think, the first question of the good self-help app and the books, which whether it's good or not. I would say go for it. Why not? If there is something good around you, where you feel that today I'm not feeling good, and let me read a good book or a good self-help app which is helping me to overcome something at that point of time, and there is no other outlet for you, why not? Right? We are living in a world of fantastic technology. Anyways, we are spending time on Instagram and Facebook and this and that. Why not to spend that amount of time investing something in your uh, growth, self growth, right? But remember, you just have to remember, these are not the option for traditional therapy or not visiting psychiatrists. So as I said, keep in check, what is the parameter. Like I'm gonna be very strong no matter what, even though I feel like experiencing, somewhere at the urge of I don't want to live, or rather I just want to isolate myself and disconnect everything, those are not the time to take this self-help. Go to your therapist or a psychiatrist and ask for help, right? So there is a difference which you keep needs to check on.
Okay, so now I was wondering. I think I we have time till around quarter to one, around 1 o'clock, because we have to be focused then and just finish till 1 o'clock or so.
Yep, sir. Around, you're right, around 1 o'clock.
Quarter to one. So another 15-20 minutes are remaining. So can we be a little quick and focused and answer to the point? And we'll have to do that.
Yes, sir. So we'll have just one last question, and then we can go ahead with the last thing. Is that all right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, sir, one of the questions that was there was, what should one keep in mind while helping a friend or a family member going through mental trauma?
See, first thing very important is to understand that person rather than to make that person understand. Many a times, what the mistake which we make is that our enthusiasm is to make we immediately catch hold of n- already means a therapist is thought to be a person who is going to speak and make a person understand. But what we don't know is that the therapist is the person who is supposed to be understanding the person first. So whenever you have this sort of a situation, first understand the person, see what the person is going through. Second, don't make the person dependent on you. It will get back to you in a very bad way. It will get back to the person in a very bad way, because that will become a sort of immediate balm which will make the person feel okay. So the person will start getting back to you with regards to problems, again getting back to you 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, and then feel so close to you, attached to you, that at times the you will become the source of happiness, unhappiness, everything. And if you're not available, the person may go into a further depression. So keep the keep that balance proper. Third thing is, see to what point you can support and what point the person requires the support from somebody else. Hand over the person to somebody else where you require that the things are requiring professional help. Now, next point which we will be speaking, I'll just enumerate the common signs of alarm or concern where we require to really accept that we are having a issue and then move ahead with that. So see those signs also, which I'll come to. And wherever possible, don't give solutions, rather give support and create a mind which is going to be in a position to take solutions, to take decisions. Because many a times what happens is that we are very enthusiastic. I used to help out a helpline where on very first day, every year this was a trend, there used to be at least a crowd of around 70-80 volunteers. And the minute I used to tell them that none of you are going to offer a solution to people whom you're going to call on helpline, next session there used to be hardly around 20-25 remaining. लोगों को बहुत मजा आता है कि दूसरे का प्रॉब्लम जो है वो मैंने सॉल्व करके दिया. So we are in regards to mental health. The idea is to make a person strong enough to start taking his or her right decisions, not to give solutions to people. They can be, if they have a legal problem, let them go to police station or lawyer. If they have a medical problem, let them go to a doctor and take a solution from there. If they have got a emotional problem, let them take a solution on their own. But we make the person strong and unable to do it. That is the goal of our support, not solving. So we are going to be supportive, we are going to be understanding, we are going to enable a person to become strong and let the person take his right decisions. And unfortunately, there are no right decisions. Decisions are decisions on the day which we take. We always want to find a right decision to be taken. There is nothing called as a right decision. We take a decision, future tells us whether it was right or wrong, and the future is created by us. So from the day you take a decision, whether you take a decision to join a particular course, from that day behave in such a way that the future is that of success and happiness, and you will say that I took a right decision. So the decisions are to be made right. So you have to strengthen the person to take decisions and give the strength to the person to make them come out as right. So that is our support which is required. And At the end of it, if you feel that it is required, the therapist or any other person's help is required, you have to take. Any other question? Sejal, you want to add anything? Sorry.
No, sir. It's fine.
So I think that we should then that's the most of the questions. I think so. First of all, thank you so much, sir, on behalf of all our audiences, sir and ma'am, for answering all the questions. It was really helpful for not only the audience but for each of us as well, who just listened to the answers, and it was really enlightening. So, Dr. Devendra, I think we can go ahead with the next thing.
So, last thing which I would like to speak about is about the common signs and symptoms of a mental health issue. See, first, will every all of us know that there are emotional signs and symptoms, but before that, I'll come to physical signs and symptoms of a mental health issue. The most common physical signs and symptoms are sleep disturbances, appetite disturbances, energy level disturbances. So the sleep may go down or become excessive, appetite may go down or become excessive, energy levels may go down or become excessive. Usually in depressive disorders, they go down. Apart from that, body starts reacting in form of unnecessary and unwanted heart beating faster, that is palpitations, at times feeling very jittery in form of tremors or mouth going dry now and then, feeling a little giddy, getting pains and aches which are not really understood by any sort of reports or any other things, feeling not good physically, at time fatigued. So these are common physical symptoms which you don't have any medical basis. You should look towards that stress is reacting to your body and causing some sort of a issue in it, and we have to take it at the level of stress. With regards to mind, the if we I'll just demarcate it in depressive disorders and anxiety disorders because these are most common disorders. In depressive disorders, what happens is one is a person can start becoming sad, which is most commonly understood symptom of depression. But at the same time, there can be maybe not sadness, the mind can be zero and not experience happiness and hedonia, that is not getting happiness. So even if you have started not having happiness nowadays, that should also be kept in the mind. You were feeling happy about something yesterday, today you're not feeling. Second is having negative thoughts. No, negative thoughts are very important to be understood because these are the things which later on go into thoughts of suicidal thoughts and even suicidal behavior. So unnecessary negative thoughts about oneself, feeling very worthless, that I'm no good, my confidence goes down, I cannot do this. Hello,
Yes,
hello.
you're audible, sir.
Hello, sir.
Nishta,
Can
I
you
think
hear
I
us?
have lost out on this. You'll have to.
Sir, you're audible. Hello.
You are there. You are still there.
I'm there because I cannot hear myself. Okay, ठीक है. Then I'll continue.
Sir, you're audible.
Okay, okay. Sorry, I think my no, from my end I can see the platform gone. So what I
You're
was saying
audible.
is
Hello.
that the feeling of helplessness which comes where we feel that we are all alone and feeling very helpless about the entire thing, and these two things, not having a confidence into oneself, not having help from outside, leads to a feeling of hopelessness that there is nothing in reserve for me. future is going to be bad, it is going to be bleak, and these thoughts lead to suicidal thoughts. So negative thoughts, suicidal thoughts, a low mood, not feeling happy about anything. Sometimes there can be delusional thinking also, in the sense you feel as if people are looking at you, staring at you, talking about you, these sort of feelings and thoughts. Then there can be unnecessary intrusive thoughts which you just cannot let go of, like bad thoughts or thoughts of contamination, which are a part and parcel of OCD, where you feel that, especially in this COVID era, a lot of people have started feeling that their hands are contaminated, so they go on sanitizing it again and again, again and again. And so these things are common kind of thoughts. From my end, the platform is being a little weird. So Sejal, can you continue with this? I'll just refresh the page.
Okay, sir. So, sir was talking about different kind of symptoms which you may experience while going through a mental disorder. Now, there can be different disorders. One is called anxiety disorder, where you are going to feel stress, anxiety, panic disorder. You are also going to experience social anxiety disorder. Especially this has been found. I think I spoke earlier as well that you can be this can be found mainly in the your college time while you're going in the university and you experience this anxiety pressure. Then there is disorders called bipolar related disorders, and they are formally known as a manic depression. And bipolar disorders are characterized by alternative episodes of mania, uh, hypomania, major depression. Sometimes you're absolutely high, you're spending 50,000 rupees in a day, and then after 3 days back, you're absolutely low, where you just don't want to come out of your house. So very, very bad, very, very extreme zones is one of the kind. There's another different kind of disorder is called depressive disorders. Now these are very common features of all depressive disorders. It basically represents sadness, emptiness, irritable mood. So remember, these are very consistent. You would be experiencing this consistently, not just here and now. um, and this is also will be accompanied by physical symptoms, so like cognitive changes significantly affect your capacity to function on a regular routine. um, these are I was thinking about another disorder of dissociative disorder, in that you would be feeling disconnected between the consciousness, the memories, emotions, and perceptions. So, if you experience somebody around you, just be alert. What is something different in this person, and you can raise that concern. That's all, right? Um, there is one more which is I usually deal with, and that is feeding and eating disorders. Okay, so these are mainly with come across anorexia, where you would especially we have found this more in women than men, but still men do experience that as well. That you want, even though you have a healthy weight, there is a part of you that self image would tell you that you need to be reducing your weight. You don't look good. You look completely ugly all the time, and you consistently want to avoid eating at all. Uh, Another related to it is binge eating, where the similar perception of that I don't look good, but at the same time you would overeat it because food has a very, very amazing relationship with us. It helps us to deal with our feelings. At the same time, it takes us to some really bad addiction, which can be quite challenging for us to remove. So and then so binge eating is more around you would be keep eating unnecessarily even if you are not hungry, and then you want to take it out. And then bulimia nervosa, it's another kind of a eating disorder, where again you would be uh, you would be kind of putting the food inside and then going to the bathroom, not letting anybody know. It's more coming, whereas a self harm, where you don't want to know, you don't want to let anybody know what is going on. It's a complete darkness, and you would be capturized by that, and then you would feel that you're getting into that addiction of feeling absolute low self worth. Um, there is neurocognitive disorders are as well. It's more of a traumatic brain injury related to that. And of course, the main, which usually we measure of the population, we experience OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, where it characterized by the presence of obsession and compulsion. So something I'm obsessed with, and to complete that task, I need to have that compulsion to do it again and again, again and again. So somewhere you might find this usually with your mother. If you observe, not all, but you might have experienced some of the ladies around you who would be keep cleaning the vessels all the time, keep cleaning the desk all the time, even though the maid has just done and they are still not satisfied with it. This is one of the example. Um, there is a schizophrenia, which you might have heard about it. It's a schizophrenia spectrum, and other psychotic disorders where you people person go through delusions, uh, hallucinations, negative symptoms, disorganized and abnormal motor behavior. These are the ones which really needs psychiatric attention immediately. um, and then I also want to add one more, and that is sexual dysfunction, where this particular group of disorders are characterized by a person's inability to fully engage in or experience sexual pleasure. Um, Another one is sleep wake disorders, where you find insomnia, where you feel you're hardly getting a sleep in the night time. And then substance related addictive disorders, trauma stresses and related disorders. So there are plenty of them. I'm not going to go too much in detail about it, but anybody has any questions on this? Is there any other question you have?
So,
Um,
Sejal, have you covered about a bit of borderline personality and no, personality
Personality
disorders?
disorders, sir, I have not. I was just talking about anxiety disorders, and yeah.
Yeah.
So you may cover, sir, that, yeah.
So, so there is something called as personality disorders also, where the personality is at a issue. It usually starts at early teens, and then by the time you are around 17, 18, it has already taken shape into your personality. Common personality disorders are those like borderline personality, where the person is living extremes. The person is very attached to people, very loving. At the same time, when the attachments go very vengeful, very negative, there can be self harm in form of cutting of your forearm, very sensitive, does a lot, feels a lot, very impulsive also. At times, whatever comes to your mind, you just want to do it immediately. And this personality is very prone to go into a depressive disorder. Second is, uh, we have all heard of narcissistic personality, where a person becomes very grandiose, feels that he's above others, puts people down, puts disregards people's emotions, wants things done his or her way, feels that he is somebody who is very important, wants importance from everybody else, whereas does not give importance to others. Then it looks like this person, if you do something for him or her, nothing so great. But if you don't, then a big issue. And if something is not done his way or her way, it becomes a big issue again. So this is narcissistic personality. Then there are some people who are obsessive compulsive personalities, where they want everything in a particular fashion. 10 बजे पहुंचना है तो 9:55 को ही वहां पे पहुंचना चाहिए, ये आपने कमिट किया तो वैसे ही होना चाहिए, कपड़े के ऊपर एक भी क्रीज नहीं है, ऐसे नहीं चलेगा न. एंड इन ट्राइंग टू फॉलो एंड पुट इन पैटर्न्स एंड रूल्स, they in fact become less and less productive. They are counterproductive in fact. So too much when it goes to and all the personalities have got a positive side to it. Managed well, this same OCPD person can be one of the greatest administrators, but gone to other extreme, he can be a hindrance. This same narcissistic person can be a good leader and dominate if he has that EQ in him or install EQ in him, but when gone beyond a point becomes a sort of a dictator and is not liked. Same personality, borderline personality can be somebody one of the most loving and caring person in this world, but gone beyond the point can be one of the most vengeful person. Various personalities are there. There are schizoid people who like to stay to themselves and not interact much. They are introverted. They want their desk, they are in the computer, their things. They don't want to talk with people much. They are happy with themselves. Fantasy is their way of living happy life. They can just think and think of things and be happy in that. So these are various personality disorders. And a bit about addictions also, very important nowadays. Lot of people, we all know about addictions to alcohol, to the cigarettes and tobacco. Cannabis is becoming a major menace in this world, although most of the youngsters nowadays give me some reasons like cannabis is legal in Canada and US and Netherlands. There are cafes. That does not mean anything. Alcohol and cigarettes also legal in India. That does not mean that they are not harmful. I would like to give a special mention about cannabis because it's not considered as evil as what I would perceive it to be. One is it can cause psychosis, which is not very common, very rare, where a person becomes insane, and it happens in people who are predisposed to schizophrenia. It can bring in schizophrenia early. But in almost every regular cannabis user, I wouldn't use the word regular for everybody who has it every day, but a frequent cannabis user, over a period of time, something which is very harmful called as amotivational syndrome comes in, where the person starts becoming comfortable in life. He starts his motivation to do something, his zest to do something starts going down. It's like this, that if I don't say that fakir smokes a ganja or a sadhu smokes a ganja, he goes on smoking ganja, so he's become a fakir or a sadhu ultimately. And he becomes, initially the sadhu is taking every day. If he goes on taking ganja, he takes bath only on kumbh day, so he becomes a hippie. He starts he's not bothered about his hair, his, those are at the end of it. But that in some minor level also, if this happens to any of us, imagine the kind of repercussions it would have in this competitive world, where the world is full of competition. So somewhere cannabis is not as it is. If you want to be a sadhu, well and good, it is very nice. But if you don't, then I think you have to, or you want to be somebody who is contented, relaxed, in the sense, for lose out on lots of things in life. It's a nice thing, but if not, remember this, that cannabis has this side to it. It brings in this part to a person's brain most of the times. So be wary of cannabis. It's not as simple as it, and it's becoming very common. So we need to have a special mention about it. Other drugs are there which we all know are lousy, bad, and to be treated: opium, heroin, brown sugar, uh, MD, and cocaine. Uh, Trying out occasional LSD in a party can definitely lead to a bad trip, which can lead to psychosis. So we, and see, it's like this, that God has given us a clean brain. Keep it clean and enjoy cleanly with it, is what is very important. So these are common disorders. If any of you have any symptoms, and very important aspect about disorders is two things. One is that it should not be that you experience it for 2 days. Everybody experiences things for 2 days whenever situations are adverse. It should be there continuously all the time of the day, every day, for at least a couple of weeks to be called as a disorder. One. And second, it should start affecting your life at a personal level, at a occupational level, and at the family level, social level, family and social level. So when these two things happen, then you consider it as a disorder and consult a specialist for it. So I think that is what I would like to say about these things. So, any further questions, or how do we go? So, it's around 1 o'clock.
Sir, I think we should go to the PPT if that's okay with you.
Yes, definitely.
Hmm.
So, thank you so much for calling us and giving us the honor. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Before we proceed, for all the attendees, UNI is the platform that Sir has founded, and this is a basic short description about what the objectives of UNI are. So please sit tight throughout this PPT because this will really help you out in getting to know the organization better. All right. So I think with this we have come to the end of the session. So after such an encouraging session, and it is an absolute honor and my privilege to propose the vote of thanks today on behalf of the Entrepreneurship Development Cell of St. Xavier's College, Kolkata. Now, this session has been very proactive in coming to grips with the various barriers that can at times prevent the people from different backgrounds from seeking and accessing help with mental health issues. Now, discussions like these are really, really important in building the understanding of the fact that mental health issue affects people from all walks of life. Now, men, women, and of all ethnicities, and people even from economically disadvantaged societies is something that do go through this on a daily basis. So, from all socio-economic backgrounds, promoting mental health is something which is very imperative and it is the need of the hour. And the well being requires an understanding of cultural diversity, including the respect for difference and willingness to learn and acceptance of different ways of viewing the world. Uh, Dr. Save and Ms. Desai both spoke about how acceptance is a very important and a vital factor in our everyday so that we can ensure that mental health is something that sticks around. So that is a key takeaway from this entire session. I thank all the dignitaries present today, particularly Dr. Devendra Save and Ms. Sejal Desai, who have spent their precious time gracing this organization with great pride and gratitude. It was a wonderful opportunity to hear about your vision and about our experience, which would undoubtedly motivate us to take mental health as a priority in our lives. Our esteemed principal, Reverend Father Dr. Dominic Savio, and Vice Principals, Reverend Father Joseph Kolandai, Reverend Father Peter Arokyam, deserve a special praise for inspiring us for excellence and maintain the Zavarian reputation. I'd also like to express my gratitude to Dr. Anup Kumar Mitra, a faculty advisor, for his constant guidance and support. Last but not the least, I would like to say that we are most grateful to all the speakers on this forum, as well as the attendees for making this event a huge success. We extend a deep sense of appreciation for all the support and guidance provided by the members of the E-Cell. We owe the success of this entire 360-degree council session to you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for being a part of this incredible journey and hope you have a great day ahead. Thank you so much.